What's up guys, today I wanted to make a video about all of the specs that I'm interested in Season 3. Recently with the new season rolling in, meta looks absolutely incredible right now, and I think many people realize this, which is why it's so attractive to start pushing. But I have also noticed that many of you are struggling to pick your specs and you're asking me for help. Now this is not a guide per se, sorry if you've been bamboozled. Maybe I can make a proper how to pick your main guide later, let me know in the comments if you would like that. Today I simply wanted to share my thought process with you when it comes to picking what I want to play, and show you how I try my absolute best to mix meta and also my personal playstyle to pick a spec that is sufficient for all of my goals. And who knows, maybe hearing me talk about it is gonna help you a little bit to streamline the process and pick something for yourself. First of all, I need a main, okay? And I am pushing this season. The initial goal is 3600 rating, but I kind of have a suspicion that after the turbo boost, this number is gonna get a little bit more trivial, and I'm simply trying to go as high as possible. So call it pushing hierarchies, call it road to title, it doesn't really matter. The main point is that I'm eventually going to be doing plus 18s, possibly even plus 19s, plus 20s. And for these keys, I really want something that is useful to my team and something that performs. Now, just before all of the off-meta white knights go into my comments telling me that, you know, windwalkers and blood decays and augmentations have been doing plus 20s last season, I'm not saying here that they are not able to. It's just that anyone who has pushed mid to high level keys, even gone past the 3000 IO line with an off-meta spec, is gonna understand how hard and how time consuming it is. All the way from getting into groups to sometimes the lack of damage output or tankiness, and usually a lack of utility. Now I'm honestly kinda lucky in this regard, in that I enjoy something that is also pretty meta, and unless my spec gets utterly gutted in mid-season and becomes really bad, then I am gonna be sticking to my elemental shaman. Now yeah, initially I was gonna main Havoc this season, but I played it for the first 2 or 3 weeks, I got my 3000 rating, and I just figured that I didn't like the spec. It was just really min-maxy to me, and there were some mechanics that I simply disliked, so it's just not my cup of tea, and I have decided to go back to my roots. Elemental has a lot to provide. The damage profile is very solid, you have a lot of AoE, you have okay single target, and also you have some very nice pyro damage through funneling, and all of the utility that comes with that, obviously, like poison dispels, short CD interrupt, a lot of AoE stops, etc, etc. And since I already played the spec for the past 6 months, I feel like I have a decent level of proficiency with it. Now the spec also has some downsides. It has a massive RNG aspect. It's one of those kind of casino specs, although this can be mitigated to a certain point with very good CD management and also tier set management. And I think this RNG aspect is my biggest problem with the spec, but after playing so many specs in this game, I have learned one important thing. Let this be like the biggest life lesson that you take away from this video. Every single spec in this game has downsides. There is no such thing as a perfect spec. If there was, then everyone would be playing it and there would be no reason to play anything else. So if every spec is gonna have some downsides that you dislike, you might as well pick the one that is least annoying, and for me that is Elemental Shaman. Aside from pushing on my main, I also like the triple roll, but I'm not gonna be anywhere near as hardcore as I am on my main. For both tanking and healing, I really don't think I'm gonna go past plus 15s, maybe plus 16s this season, which is kinda great news to me because it means that I have a lot more freedom when it comes to meta, and I can simply pick what I enjoy, because you absolutely do not need the top meta specs to play plus 15s. When it comes to tanking, it can be a bit more stressful. I think you have some more basic responsibilities like stricter positioning and routing, so I enjoy my simplicity, and I will be tanking with Guardian Druid. Although Bear has very low mob control, which can be annoying at times, it is pretty damn tanky and most importantly simple. The defensive juggling is very straightforward, and your micro defensive mechanic being Iron Fur is one of the simplest playstyles slash mechanics in this entire game. Aside from that, I think that Bear is very underrated when it comes to pugging, specifically because of Remove Corruption. I think this is a great tool for a puck tank, especially for those nasty poisons in Arakara and also curses in Halls of Atonement. So for all of these reasons, I think Bear is the spec for me. Now maybe if I mained tank and had some higher goals in mind, then I would reroll, but for my goals, Bear is completely sufficient. Now for my healer of choice, you already know, baby. Last season I tried to dip my toes a little into Disc Priest, and this season I tried a bit of Resto Shaman, but at the end of the day, nothing is as fun to me as my beloved Mistweaver. This is the spec that I started healing with back in Season 1, and it's been really hard to have more fun on another healer, because it basically plays like a DPS in healer form. Playstyle wise, it's definitely more on the complex side though. The spec has a lot of sorta intricate interactions and talents that you need need to understand if you want to do any healing. But once I have learned those basics, Mistweaver became one of the most intuitive specs for me in this game. Again, from a meta perspective though, it's not doing very well, honestly. Because of the raid buff, it's kind of locked into playing in mostly physical comps, and the healing can be a little bit rough in single target fights. Not gonna get too much into the specifics, but Mistweaver has multiple things in your healing kit that really profit from a higher mob count. So there are some healing checks during bosses which I personally find really difficult. But again, the point here is that although it has some issues, it will be completely sufficient for plus 15s in my opinion. And it's a spec that I really enjoy because of the playstyle. I like the shit ton of mobility that you have. It is also pretty tanky, you have some nice personals and also a self-heal. You also have some decent on-demand healing, there is not too much ramping with Mistweaver. And again, Poison the Spell is great, so that's why I'm gonna be going with the Mist. So these three specs are gonna be my bread and butter for Season 3. But aside from them, I'm also interested in two more picks that are gonna be the alts. So characters that I don't plan to take too seriously and just play them whenever I feel like. The first one is Hunter, more specifically MM and BM Hunter. As much as I'd love to include survival, it's kinda ass. Yeah, big surprise. Now I know what kind of multiverse alternate timeline we are living in that Adrian wants to play a hunter. But hear me out, okay? I'm more so interested in MM because I really want to learn something new this season. My three main choices are all specs that I've had experience with before, so I want to freshen it up a bit, and although I'll probably be more motivated to play BM in hierarchies, there's a lot more to learn on MM, and Dark Ranger specifically looks like a lot of fun to be had. Either way, both of these specs are doing great right now. Despite providing less than meta classes, you still have some strong suits. The mob control is great, you can also provide Bloodlust and Suit to some rare combos that don't have those already. And one interesting reason why I currently find Hunter to be really attractive is I always kinda wished I could play a triple DPS class really well, because it looks so fun when I watch people play like a Warlock or a Mage or a Hunter or something and just be completely free to switch your spec depending on the dungeon and your team comp and what you feel like playing. If I'm being real with you, I've been getting kinda salty on my Ellie that I've been playing for 6 months last season, and I've been locked into playing one singular hero talent and one singular build the entire time. So yeah, this season in particular, I am super excited to pick up a Hunter as well. And for my last ult that I want to play a bit this season, Fury Warrior. Last season I played Fury a bit as a part of a challenge, and honestly I found the spec really fun. But unfortunately for most of last season, this spec was really garbage. And this is very fortunately not a case right now. After the bug fix to Slayer, Fury is a incredibly competent spec. It now has amazing single target, one of the best in the game, amazing prio damage because of the Slayer tree, and also after the bug fix, some very competent AoE. So now that the spec has been fixed, quote unquote, obviously it still has some very big issues in Mythic Plus, you know, pretty severe lack of utility, but because of the much better damage profile now and also the raid buff, I feel like I'm gonna be a lot more rewarded for learning and playing the spec. And yeah, I'm really excited that Fury is in a much better position now, and I'm super excited to finally pick it up and be rewarded for it a little bit. So these are all of the specs that currently interest me and that I really want to play. Now plans may change, meta might change at some point into the season, that is obvious, so I'm not necessarily gonna pressure myself into sticking with all of these specs. And that's another little tip for you. People tell you to like stick with the spec if you've been playing it for a while. I don't necessarily agree with that. If there's something that is unfortunately nerfed to the ground and just not good anymore, which makes you feel sad or fucking unrewarded, just re-roll off of that shit, bro. At the end of the day, this is a video game, right? Surprising to say, but it's not a job, it's a video game. Just whatever you're playing, have fun with it. If you're similar to me and your fun comes from doing a big damage, then simply play something that does more damage. I don't think you should be shamed for that. And yeah, in the comments, please let me know what you plan to play this season. Not only your main, but all of your alts as well, and the reason why you want to play them. I'm gonna be streaming my main's pushing journey this season. I stream 4 times a week right now, so check out my Twitch. And I also make a tier list that I update after every single patch on my Discord. So if you want to keep up with the tier list or just chat to me, get quick notifications on any changes about the channel, then hop on the Discord, and see you guys on stream. Bye bye.